K4FLG. Is this frequency in use, please? This is WI4L, David, in southeast Whitfield County. K0VD, Greg, will be tonight's net control. Check-ins will follow my announcement. K4FLG, James Jordan, became a silent key on December 27th. Visitation and a memorial service will be Tuesday at the Dalton Funeral Home. Specific details are online.
9 p.m.
K4FLG, Tom Smith was the first that I heard do the last call. I never thought I could do it until Tom was sick and I did my first one. They never get any easier, with this one being no exception. I met James Jordan, K4FLG, at the Hamfest in 1979 before I was licensed. And I don't think James missed any Hamfest within 100 miles of Dalton. We went to Birmingham, Shelby, North Carolina. The one I remembered most was Chattanooga. I was there to take my first ham exam, which meant the code test was first. I passed the 13 word a minute CW and wasn't prepared for the written test. And back then, this was with the LCC, so you had to, it's a little bit different as today, but still that intimidation was there, big time. But anyway, James told me to take that test, and I said, James, I'm not ready, but he insisted that I take it. Well, long story short, I didn't pass it, but the experience did help later, and that's what he was trying to tell me, just go ahead and take it, and if you don't pass it, then it's going to help you out later. That was my first really encounter with K4FLG James. He was just, he had been around as a teenager. I think licensed back when he was like 14 years old. I used to joke with James, that's probably the most fun joke is he got licensed when I was born. With all those Hamfests that James attended, he wanted one in Georgia, in Dalton especially. And he said, let's have it at the first, let's have it at the first and Hamfest season. What he was talking about was because especially back in those days, there was a Hamfest season, so he wanted it at the beginning, so everybody be ready to have one. That was his plan. Just be first. So it was made to have the last Saturday in February, and it was called the first and best Hamfest in Georgia. I don't think James never miss setting up and attending our ham fest, ever. He set the stage for what it is today. I mean, it's amazing how many years he did that. I mean, I don't know. It's amazing. I could go on all night with stories that James told me in our long friendship. But most of all, I hope to remember them all, especially our last time together, going to breakfast and working on his last antenna. This was just a few weeks ago. I mean, you know, that was his last thing that he wanted to do was get back on the air when he moved from his home that he'd had for over 20 years to a condo after Marie, his wife, passed away. Also, one other thing I remember about James is he sold me my first 2-meter base station radio. I still remember that. It was a Clegg. I can't remember exact number, but that's what got it all started. And James was always there, a part of a lot of people's lives over the years, as far as buying and trading radios. If you bought a radio from James, you knew it was a good one because he said when he used it over there that it was the best radio we ever had.
PL 141.3.
If he used that radio and he said it was the best he ever had, you wanted it. Anyway, let's try to get this going. Like I said, Greg's gonna call the net. I'm gonna turn it over to him, and he'll take check-ins. If you got any memories of James, maybe you didn't know him as a new ham or whatever. Maybe you knew him as long as I have over these years. Share your experiences with Greg, and Greg knew him, I guess, even other than amateur radio. So a lot of people knew James that way as well. But as I said, this is one of the most difficult things I've ever done, and I'm just going to try to do the best I can do, and I hope it works out. But I'll make the last call for James.
Outside the temperature, 49 degrees.
Greg will take it over with check-in. K4FLG. K4FLG. This is WI4L. One last call. K4FLG. This is WI4L and all your ham radio friends, which is many.
W4ERC repeater.
Good evening.
Thanks everyone. James will be very much missed in the ham radio community, not just here locally, but all over probably more so than the whole United States, because that's how he was over these years. I'm going to turn the net back over to Greg, K4FLG, to continue our net, and I appreciate him allowing me to do the net. Last call for James, K4FLG. WI4L. Back to you, Greg.
This is Greg Dalton, K0V Delta, Kilo 0 Victor Delta. David, thank you for doing the silent key. Good send off for James Jordan, a friend to many within the ham community and to me, even outside the community. Well, good evening and welcome to the net. I am tonight's net control station. This net meets each Sunday night on this repeater at 9 p.m. local time. You don't have to be a member of the Dalton Amateur Radio Club to participate. And of course, all licensed amateurs are welcome and encouraged to check in. This is a directed net. Please direct all calls through net control. Does anyone have any traffic at this time? If at any time during the net someone has traffic, just say break. Give your call sign and advise net control that you do have traffic to share. Net control will then turn the repeater over to you so you can pass on your traffic. This being the final net before the end of 2024, I ask if anyone has any announcements for the net. K4HYJ. K4HYJ, please go ahead. This is K4HYJ. Thanks, Greg, and I appreciate David's silent key there at the first of the net. Hope everybody had a good Christmas in spite of recent events. Just want to remind everybody coming up Tuesday night is the even though it is New Year's Eve, there will still be the Northwest District Nets as usual. And this will be the last week for a 220 net. We're replacing the 220 net with a 60-meter HF net. So give you an opportunity to try out that band on your radio that you might not use that much. If your antenna if you've got an antenna that can tune, that's not too many antennas don't have multiple resonances that will include 60 meters, but you can, with a decent tuner, you can usually tune up on that, but that'll be starting in January. Of course, our Aries net will remain on Thursday night at 9 p.m., and we're doing our simplex test next week. So, hope everybody has a happy New Year's. Thanks, Greg. K4HYJ. Thank you, Hank. We appreciate that. And proactively, Happy New Year. A quick thought concerning the end of 2024 and the use of the word goodbye. And this might be a little bit of a theme for tonight's program for anyone who wants to bring comment. Many people realize that goodbye is a statement that had its origination in the 16th century. Back then, people would depart each other's company, really having no idea whether they'd see each other again. So the term goodbye has its foundation in saying, God be with thee until we meet again. I share that sentiment concerning my friend James Jordan, who I've known for a very long time, outside of the amateur radio net. In fact, it was quite a surprise when I realized he was part of this wonderfully diverse and dynamic community. And so as we say goodbye to 2024, when you have a chance to comment, feel free to share thoughts of those that, or things that you think you might want to look forward to seeing again, and that you hope that by the good grace of God you have that opportunity. That being said, it's time for check-ins. Please check in stating, this is, pause for a moment, then please give your call sign clearly, both by letter as well as phonetically, along with your name and location. If you do not wish to give comments, simply request to be checked in and out. All my radio friends, check-ins. Please come now.
This is K4AZM, Kilo 4, Alpha Zulu Mike, Eric and Varnell.
This is K4CDA, Kilo Oscar 4, Charlie Delta Alpha, Claude, Fort Mountain, in and out.
This is
Kilo November 4, Kilo Bravo Lima, KN4 at KVL, Carter in Chatsworth. Good evening.
W4ERC repeater.
Good evening.
This is KM4HSU, Kilo Mike 4, Hotel Sierra Uniform. Gerald and Ranger, please check me in and out, and I'll be listening for a little bit. This is KZ4KS, Kilo Zulu 4, Kilo Sierra, Chuck in Fairmount.
This is KQ4RLA, Kilo Quebec 4, Romeo Lima Alpha, Chris in South Whitfield. Also checking in and out, AB4CB, Alpha Bravo Charlie Bravo, and also in South Whitfield, in and out.
This is KQ4PDS, Kilo Quebec 4, Papa Delta Sierra, Logan and Eton. Good evening, everybody.
Let's pause there for just a second and review these check-ins. K4AZM Eric, good evening. KO4CDA Claude, in and out. KN4KBL Carter, hello. KM4SU Gerald, he's in and out as well. KZ4KS, I might have that wrong, but I tried my best. Chuck, good evening.
That's correct.
Fantastic, my handwriting is horrible. KQ4RLA, Chris, and AB4CD, Annette, in and out. And Logan, KQ4PDS, good evening. Check-ins, continue on.
This is KQ4AUZ, Kilo Quebec H, Kilo Quebec 4, Yankee Juliet Hotel, Jeff Weed, Chatsworth. Checking in and out.
This is K4FLG, Kilo Oscar 4, Zulu Yankee Golf, Kendall and Cleveland. This is K4HYJ. W4DRC. All right, let's take another break and review these check-ins. KQ4AUZ Cecil, good evening, sir. Happy New Year. And for ATO Gary, thank you for checking in. KQ4YJH Jeff, in and out. KO4ZYG Kendall, hello, sir. And of course, our infamous K4HYJ Hank, glad to hear you. Any other check-ins? Please call now.
This is KM4WTH Kilo Mike 4 Whiskey Tango Hotel, Vernon, Southeast Whitfield. Check me in and out, please.
This is K7WOF, Kevin and Calvin. Very good. At this time, we've got 15 check-ins. KM4WTH, Vernon's in and out. Vernon, have a happy New Year, sir. K7WOF, I want to say it's Kevin. I didn't quite catch it in Calhoun, but thank you for being here this evening. Oh, really good. Thanks for picking me up, and Happy New Year to everybody out in the net. The wind is out of the west at 4 miles per hour. At this time, if there's any Echo Link check-ins, please call now. Nothing heard. Let's go back to the top of the roster. With my little definition of goodbye, when it comes to, as we are at the end of the year, 2024, entering the 25th year of the 21st century. I'd like anything you guys want to share about the last year, people that, or things that you've experienced or are saying goodbye to. Personally, James, a friend of mine, I'm glad he's at peace, and as well as my mother, who passed away earlier this fall. I can tell you there's something grand to be thought of when you think about the fact that we had to experience so many great people in our lives. And 2024 has been one of quite a blessing for me. I appreciate all the guys that are out there and all the people that have been part of the ham community. Eric, putting you on the spot, K4AZM. 2024 is coming to a close. How are you and your thoughts for the year?
K4AZM, thank you, Greg. My thoughts for the year. I already had one thing in mind before you gave the final details. One thing I would like to see again is a solar eclipse totality. The first one was absolutely amazing. I'd even go as far as to say spiritual. And this past year, I lost two very close, long-time friends, same age as me, and I miss them. I miss them a lot. K4AZM, back to net.
best-hearted people I know, and I appreciate, the passing of your friends, and the fact that your loss you appreciate. And as for a solar eclipse, I'm all with you, man. Something about watching the totality, it humbles you. It really does. Well, Claude isn't it out tonight. Carter, man, I'm putting you on the spot. 2024 was a big year for you. Any thoughts or reflections? Anything you might want to share? Plus, you can think about anything going into 2025 that you might like. You and I have already talked about Dry Creek. So I'm on board with that. KN4KBL. How are you, and what do you think?
W4.
Let the repeater get an ID, and thanks for running the net tonight, Greg, and my condolences to Jeff's family. We're definitely going to miss him, and I'm been pretty enthusiastic for what 2025's got to come, and I can't wait for Dry Creek. Have a good net, everybody, and good night. KN4KBL. Back to you, Greg.
Carter, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to it as well. KZ4KS, Chuck. Good evening. I don't think you and I have talked directly in a while, and I'm looking forward to hearing what you think about this year and the year coming forward.
Just looking forward to what it brings, thinking about what's past. I'll let everything that collected us here generate and build towards the future. Kind of like radio, you learn one thing at a time, develop one thing at a time, and then it becomes a collection of actions, memories, and thoughts, abilities, and knowledge. So that's what I want to add to mine, and just have a great year with my family and friends that I picked up in the radio. Appreciate the time, all the information y'all have given me over the past year almost, since March when I got into it. Looking forward to spending more time and developing more friends. KZ4KS, back to net.
Chuck, man, I really appreciate that. That was well said. Just a brief moment here. I do want to acknowledge the fact that former President Jimmy Carter did pass away this evening. And regardless of your political alliances, that is a man who really gave service to our country. And really, he was here to serve. And I respect the fact he was part of our national heritage. And he made it to 100 years. Goodness gracious. Well, let's go on. Logan, KQ4PDS. Love to hear your thoughts based on everything you've heard up to this point.
KQ4PDS. Yeah, thanks for doing the net tonight, Greg. Really appreciate you. It's a hard night to run a net, so I've got a lot of admiration for you and David getting it done. Y'all are doing a great job at it. It's been a big year for us here in the Mathis household. We've got a newborn. He's not so new anymore. He's 3 months. And, it's opened my eyes. The good book tells us that life is a vapor. And I think having a baby's helped me realize that, days are numbered and days are swift, but we enjoy them while we've got them. And I'm going to make sure to make that count. So appreciate getting in on this hobby and getting to know everybody. And, that's my plans for this next year. Go ahead, get the general, and start studying for the extra. So one step at a time. Back to you, Greg.
Logan, I promise you, we all appreciate you, and we're glad you're part of the hobby. We're looking forward to see where you take it. Oh, my goodness. Cecil, KQ4AUZ. I can't wait to hear what you have to say.
Thanks, Greg. I appreciate it. One of the things that I'd like to say about James is that he was always a friend. I've known him since I was 14 years old, and he is the one that actually got me started in radio. He took me over to his house and showed me all the stuff that he had at that time, and I know it changed over the years, but one of the things that I wanted everybody to remember is that all of you out there, each one of you is a special person, because whenever you talk on the radio, you talk directly to the person who is on the other end, and that means something to that person. One of the things that you need to remember, gives you a chance to get ready right now so you can get ready. It means a lot to me to hear you guys out there talking, and I appreciate each one of you. God bless you.
Cecil, thank you so much for those heartfelt thoughts, and I tip my hat to you, my friend. We've known each other a long time. We didn't see each other for almost 30 years, and when I ran back into you with the radio, it was like I'd seen you yesterday. Always a pleasure, sir, and thank you so much. Gary, N4ATO. I don't think you and I have talked before, but I'm so glad that you're part of the radio family. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Thank you, Greg. The N4ATO. Yeah, we've spoke several times. But yeah, Cecil, loved what he had to say. Great saying there. James, I'd known him 5 or 6 years. Not a close friend, but a good friend in the hobby. Talked to him several times on radio, and look forward to seeing him at all the Hound Fest that I got to see him at, and the Christmas parties and stuff. He was a great man, and thank you, David Stanley, for calling his SK ceremony. Look forward to this next year, and hope he can continue to build on the extended family here in the radio hobby. This is N4ATO. Back to you, Greg.
Thanks, Gary. Let's continue down the list here. Kendall, K4FLG. Well, you walked into a wonderful night of conversation, both about this year and the future. What are your thoughts as we close out 2024?
Well, thank you, Greg, for calling the net. First of all, I'm sorry for not waiting for you to ask for Echo Link check-ins. I did come in on Echo Link because I tried to pull up the 5100 and it was sounding pretty scratchy, so I figured it was a waste of time. Secondly, I didn't know James. I did talk to Cecil some over the weekend, and I've heard some of the other guys talking about him, so I can tell he was a stand-up guy and a great addition to the radio community. But sorry that for his family, for their loss. We've actually lost 3 of our members at the Cleveland Amateur Radio Club this year that we've gained 3 silent keys there as well. And actually lost a couple of family members between Christmas and between Thanksgiving and Christmas this year. So it's been a hectic season for us this year, but you know, we just have to make the best of each and every day the good Lord gives us. We get up and we choose how to make it. I told my granddaughter, I told somebody the other day, you know, from the moment we take our first breath, we begin to die. We don't know how long we have, so we have to make the best of it and just keep moving forward. I did want to mention, if it's okay, on January the 16th, the Cleveland Amateur Radio Club at 560 Johnson Boulevard is going to have a district meeting for the areas and ACS group. It's going to be at 6 o'clock on January the 16th, so if anybody's interested and wants to come visit that, you'd be welcome to that. They did say they were including several bordering states and counties or what, and they were going to try to reach out to some in Georgia, so I just wanted to let y'all know about that. And I want to wish everybody a happy new year and hope everybody has a safe and happy holiday. Sorry for taking so long. God
W4DRC.
Kendall, I think you launched a repeater there. Man, we really appreciate it, and we'll make sure that we get that information out on the January 16th meeting. My condolences on your losses, and also my gratitude toward your positive outlook toward what today and the future holds. Hank, K4HYJ, what a year, 2024, and what do you think? I'd love to hear your thoughts.
BL141.3.
good topic for tonight, and thanks WI4L David for Silent Key. Two things I'm going to want to say about James. He was a good friend in the hobby. Knew him outside the hobby. Had done some work with him in the past, or helped one of his companies with some issues in the past, and he was always a good guy to deal with. Always a straight shooter in business. But I can remember a couple different ham fests when I was back in the 90s when I was learning the ropes still and trying to buy a rig from somebody one time, and the guy wouldn't let me hook up a battery to test it, and he was a couple of tables away, and he walked over and insisted that if the guy wanted to make a sale, that he should let me test the radio there, and we did, and it didn't work. So didn't buy that. That was one thing I can remember, but even before that, before I became a ham, when I was much younger, being at a family friend's house who was a ham, and James being there and fascinating me with the hobby, with contacts he had made overseas. Let me let it cycle. As for, and James will be missed in lots of ways. As for 2024 and 2025, I've had I'm going to say I've been fortunate to see folks that have were able to live to regret mistakes, and might have been one of those. But I've also learned some good lessons this year, and some regrets, some resentments that are should never be. So looking forward to 2025, and hopefully I can take what I've learned from watching other folks and personally, and be a better person for 2025. Thanks, Greg. I appreciate you calling in. K4FLG.
Hey, we appreciate you, Hank, and everything you do. Really do. If I can actually learn from my mistakes, I think I might have earned a PhD in misery. But, yeah, we'll see how it goes. I don't know whether they award those at the College of Hard Knocks. K7WOF. If I've got your name wrong, I apologize. I think it's Kevin. What are you thinking this evening?
Outside the temperature, 49 degrees.
How you doing, Greg? Oh, you got it right. At least I think that you got it right. Some days I don't even know my name there, Greg, so can't really say much about someone else getting it wrong. Anyway, had a good year, and y'all doing a fine job on here, and sitting here petting my dogs, watching the news. And I guess Mr. Peanut's up in heaven now, so there you go. Anyway, Greg, been a while since I talked to you. Thanks for picking me up, brother. Happy New Year to everybody. K7WO.
That was great. Man, I love that. Before we move forward, I just want to say, WI4L, are you still there, David? And do you have anything you'd like to share?
I am still here, Greg, and I appreciate you doing that. It means a lot to me, and all the check-ins, all the comments. I just don't know anything else to add to that, but I just, like I said, appreciate everybody checking in. We all have our memories, and we're a good community of ham radio operators. For some reason or another, we all have that same interest, and we whether it's FT8 or CW, guess what? We still all have that common interest of making contacts on ham radio. So thanks again for calling that, Greg. I really do appreciate it. It's a very memorial time, and I'll never forget it. WI4L, back to net control.
Break.
Go ahead.
I was wondering, Greg or David, are we having a breakfast bunch or a lunch bunch anytime in the future?
Yes, sir. That's going to happen.
What day?
See, let me get the date right. I don't want to mess it up. Be next Saturday.
I got it at Kurt's, January 4th, 2025 at 9 a.m. at Kurt's Restaurant.
I knew net control was on top of it. I just didn't want to mess it up, Greg.
What time was it?
9 a.m.
Hey, I'll be there. I hope everyone else can make it too. You gonna be there, Cecil?
Anybody
Cause a pile up, Greg. You might want to try to decipher all that.
Anyone calling in, please repeat the transmission.
Make it or not. K4FLG.
Just to recap, January 4th, 2025 at 9 a.m. at Kurt's. First breakfast lunch was at Kurt's, so we're going to just try to continue the tradition. If anybody can make it, that'd be great.
W4ERC repeater.
Good evening.
What an interesting evening we all have had. Before we close things out, I'm going to one last call for check-ins or announcements. You've got the floor. Please call now.
This is Alpha Delta 4 Juliet Whiskey, AD4JW, Steve in recycling.
Well, good evening, Steve. Thank you for checking in. Have you been listening at all up to this point?
Yes, I have some very, very good comments. Been very interesting.
Well, Steve, is there anything you'd like to share along the same lines this evening?
Yeah, I was sitting here thinking about James and Perry and got a license in 2014, and first one I met with Perry up there at the Dalton Ham Fest, and we had our Ham Fest here in Calhoun just a couple of months later, and Perry introduced me to James and made me feel real welcome, and then long back at the time, here comes David up, so I met David, and he always made you feel real welcome, and learned a lot from all three gentlemen there, so it's always been good, that's for sure. Back to you.
Steve, really appreciate those comments, my friend. And the fact you called David Stanley a gentleman, I will write that down. We'll put it as part of the permanent record.
You better put that in there in the. Yeah.
wonderful net tonight as we close out 2024. A quick thought, I was actually on the radio for about 5 hours today talking all over the world. And I found every contact as they wished each other a happy new year and a wonderful Christmas. The positivity of our hobby cannot be overstated. There are no strangers in amateur radio. They're just friends waiting to be met. You guys have a wonderful rest of your year. There's only a couple days left. And let's walk into 2025 with our eyes open, our hearts open, and opportunities to continue to grow the hobby and the relationships we have together.
Comment.
Go ahead.
This is KM4HSU. I just wanted to sit around and listen. I know I said I was going to go in and out, but I was listening. I just wanted to give a shout out to David. That was a wonderful introduction to SK and James. And David's done a lot for the community, and he still does. And he's like a foundation. So I just wanted to throw that out there. It's going to be believe a blessed 2025, and all we can do is just keep plugging along every day, and that's all I've got. And this is KM4HSU, and back to net.
Gerald, I appreciate it. You say a lot, my friend. Thank you so much for the comment. Well, with 18 check-ins, not a bad evening. And for all the good remembrances, and a great send-off for James, who will be missed by many, including me. At this time, since there is no other business, I'm going to close out tonight's net and return our repeater to normal operation. Folks, have a great week. Happy New Year. The best of you in the upcoming 2025. And may we learn from all the good we got in 2024. Good night, everybody, and 73.
Hey, Greg, I don't know if anybody's ever told you, but your enthusiasm is really good on the radio. KN4KBL.
Thank you, Carter. I appreciate it. You have a good night, sir.
Good night to all. KN4KBL.
Tell him that, Carter.
Temperature inside 56 degrees.
And you know I'm just being that way, 'cause I can be. Greg, I really appreciate you calling that. And it worked out as we planned. And, you know, I pick at you, I always have. And there's a reason why, 'cause you can take it. So, thanks again for calling that. WI4L.
Back at you, sir. Happy New Year.
I've got David's head swelled up, now Greg's head swelling.
Well, they both have the voice for radio.
Well, one of us does.
Yeah, I always heard it was they have a face for radio. It's N4ATO. K4PDS. Gary, my mom always told me I had a face for the radio. Yeah, all right, Logan. Everyone, y'all have a great evening and a happy New Year. This is N4ATO.
I'll tell you, Gary. Happy New Year from WI4L.
Well, Greg certainly does have a face for radio. K4HYJ. Good evening, everybody. Well, good grief. We got the before net Zoom, and after net condemnation. Gotta love it. Gentlemen, you're all the best. Happy New Year, K0VD.
You know, if they didn't like you, they wouldn't pick on you, Greg. WI4L.
Well, Happy New Year to everybody, and we will have a blessed year. KM4HSU.